We're about to get into a New York Giants fan-led mailbag, but first, subscribe to New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. We're pumping out content almost daily, and I want to continue to do mailbag videos, and we're only taking questions from subscribers. So make sure you're subscribed, go down in the comments, use hashtag Giants to make sure that I can answer your question for the next New York Giants mailbag. It's mailbag time here on New York Giants Now. I am your host, Marshall Green, and today we're going to answer questions that you guys asked, and I cannot wait for it. First question we got up from Christian Vanderfeen. What are some key position battles to watch heading into camp? For me, I think the key positions to watch are right tackle and wide receiver 3. And why is that? I think these are two units that are going to be huge for the Giants' success. We're deep at those positions, but there's also some question marks around who will step up and provide those positions with some production. When you look at this Giants offensive line depth chart, right now the slated starter is Matt Peart. And I know Nate Solder is the backup left tackle on this graphic, but he could easily be the Giants' swing tackle heading into the 2021 season. And if a guy like Matt Peart struggles, Nate Solder is going to go in and step in. Peart, a third-round draft pick in the 2020 NFL draft out of UConn, he had some up and down moments through the 2021 NFL season. He started some games. He came in and was kind of that swing tackle for when Thomas was struggling, and even started some games at right tackle. But if Peart, who doesn't pick up the slack and improve on a season that had some question marks left around it, a guy like Nate Solder could be the answer. The Giants signed him a couple years back in free agency and gave him a mega deal. He opted out last year due to COVID reasons to protect his family, and Nate Solder is going to be expected to be that veteran presence in the offensive line room this year to give a guy like Andrew Thomas and Matt Peart some veteran leadership. And if Thomas struggles again like he did last year, giving up 10 sacks, Nate Solder could come in and be the starting left tackle for the Giants for the 2021 NFL seasons. So in addition to right tackle and kind of that swing tackle, the other position group that I'm really going to be watching and looking at heading into camp is the wide receiver 3 battle. These three guys on screen are absolute speed demons who all are kind of similar players, different builds. Kadarius Toney probably the most kind of the guy that's most versatile, can play in the slot, can come for jet sweep handoffs, can be a screen guy. But Darius Slayton and John Ross are very similar. They're guys that can stretch the field on the outside and really put pressure on the safeties in a cover 2 look to have to stretch and play zone defense all the way to the sideline. When you look at this wide receiver group, wide receiver 1, no doubt about it, Kenny Golladay. Wide receiver 2, Sterling Shepard, the proven veteran leader on this Giants receiving core. And then it's just going to come down to Kadarius Toney, Darius Slayton, and John Ross. They're going to have to battle it out to be that wide receiver 3 and just be a guy that produces for this Giants defense. But I want to hear from you guys. What position battle are you looking out to for the position battle are you looking out for the most heading into Giants training camp? Go down in the comments and let me know. I'll make sure to be in the comments. I'll go down and respond and react to all your comments. So let me know. Go down in the comments and let me know what position battle are you looking forward to the most heading into Giants training camp. Next on this Giants mailbag, Trey Green. What does Danny Dimes have to do this year, stats, for it to be considered a successful season? I'm not going to change any of your guys' typing on these mailbags. I want them to be authentic. But for me, stats-wise, I'll get to that in a second, but this is just a huge year for Daniel Jones. You look at the stats last year, 11 TDs, absolutely pathetic. 10 interceptions. He missed some time due to a severe hamstring injury, but I'm expecting a huge year for Daniel Jones simply because the Giants have surrounded him with weapons. And just so I'm not shooting from the hip on my projections, I want you guys to look at these stat projections for Jones for the upcoming season by Fantasy Pros. A 62.6 completion percentage, nearly 3,800 yards, 23 TDs, and 14 interceptions. Jones, his rookie year, he threw for 24 touchdowns. So for me, these stats, while I think could be accurate, would be a little bit underwhelming. So for me, I kind of looked at his rookie stats where he threw 24 touchdowns and 12 interceptions and kind of, averaged him out for a full 17-game season. I think he's going to have an uptick in his completion percentage. Hopefully he can get to that 66 mark. I think he's going to throw for 4,000 yards. You might look at that and say, whoa, you're being a homer, but you got to remember, there's going to be 17 games for this upcoming season, and I think Danny Dimes gets to that 30 touchdown benchmark. I think this is the year where Danny Dimes puts all the questions about whether or not he was worthy of being a first-round draft pick to bed, and I think we're going to be able to call this guy the Giants' franchise quarterback for the coming years. Subscribe to New York Giants now, because if you're not a subscriber, I will not answer your questions on our next mailbag. And if you want to be on our next mailbag, go down in the comments, ask a question, make sure hashtag Giants is somewhere in there, beginning, middle, or end. I don't really care, just so I know which questions are which. And go down there and ask me a question, because I want to do another one of these New York Giants mailbags very, very soon. Next up on this Giants mailbag, Isaac Petey. Hashtag Giants. How much of an impact is Kadarius Toney going to make for the Giants offense? It's a great question, and I don't know if numbers strictly are going to tell what type of impact the guy's going to have. I mean, when you look at this Giants skill depth chart, there are playmakers absolutely everywhere. Kenny Golladay, he's going to lead the team in targets if he plays the majority of the games. Then you got a guy like Sterling Shepard, who has just been a pivotal piece in this Giants offense since he's been drafted out of Oklahoma. These are two guys that are going to lead the team in targets. But then you got guys like Kadarius Toney, Darius Slayton, Evan Ingram, Kevin Rudolph, and even Saquon Barkley, who has once had Kyle Rudolph, I'm sorry. Even Saquon Barkley, who has had a 90 reception season. I think there's a lot of mouths to feed on this Giants offense. And stats-wise, I don't think it's going to tell the full story for Kadarius Toney. But if you look at what he did at Florida, there's no doubt that this dude's an absolute baller. 70 grabs, nearly 1,000 yards, 14 yards a pop, and 10 TDs. This guy is an absolute baller who's going to just provide a real test for Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett hasn't really ever had a receiver or just a playmaker like this. This is a guy that Jason Garrett is going to have to be creative and find a way to use in the Giants offense, whether that's with screen plays, bubble screens, or even the reverse handoff sweeps that they did last year with Sterling Shepard and Evan Ingram. I want to see Kadarius Toney get those touches. I want to see Kadarius Toney be used in space, because that's where he's most productive. Just get this guy the ball and let him work. He's a playmaker, and I think it's going to be all on Jason Garrett to get this guy involved. Next up on this mailbag, King Dog. What do you think the overall record will be for the 2021 season? Great question. I've thought about this long and hard. I'm not sure if I'm ready to pencil in a win total, but let's just go and look now at the Giants' upcoming schedule week by week. In this first 4 games, I think you got to go 2-2. Whether that's when you beat the Broncos in week 1. I mean, their starting quarterback's going to be Drew Lock. That's a game that you just absolutely have to win. Week 2 at Washington, it's going to be tough. Everyone knows that defense is a stout defense, but I think that's a game that the Giants could pull off, and maybe some people would call it an upset win, but anything can happen in the NFC East. Then you take a trip and you play Atlanta. That's a game that I think is very winnable, and the Saints as well. Jameis Winston, the 30 for 30 special. If you can come out of this 4-game stretch to start the season at 2-2, hopefully 3-1, I think you're on the right track, because games start to really, really get tough as we advance through the schedule. Week 5 at the Cowboys, never easy, especially at Jerry World. It's going to be a hectic environment. Fans are going to be back in the building, and the Giants are going to have to show that they're a real team that are going to be able to play defense, because that Dallas offense is explosive. Then Week 6 against the Los Angeles Rams, new QB Matt Stafford calling the signals. They're going to be a completely different team, and that's also going to be a tough win. Week 7 against the Panthers, that's a very winnable game that I expect the Giants to win. Then you get to Week 8 against the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football. That might be the upset of the year if the Giants win that game, so I'm going to hold out hope. I'm going to right now mark that as a loss. I say another 2-2 stretch out of right here would be extremely important. So now we're at 4-4, and we keep on moving. Week 9 against the Raiders, that's a game you got to win. To be a playoff team, you got to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat, and the Raiders are one of them. You go into the bye at 5-4, you regroup, ice up some injuries, and you come back and you play the Super Bowl champions on Monday Night Football and Tom Brady. It's going to be tough. It's a game you can win. They were in a tough contest last year, but I don't know. I'm not ready to pencil that in as a win. And then you get to play the Philadelphia Eagles in Week 12 and the Dolphins at Week 13. If you can split those 2 games 1-1, I think you're going to be looking good heading into Week 14 against the Los Angeles Chargers. It's another game that's really tough. Justin Herbert, he was great his rookie year. It's a stout defense. Hopefully we can pull that off. Week 15 against the Cowboys. If we lose earlier in the season, I think we're going to split with the Cowboys, so Week 15 could be a win. Then you got the Eagles in Week 16, and to round out the season in Week 17, you got the Bears, and then in Week 18, once again with the Washington football team. For me, I think this is a team you can book it. 9 or 10 wins for the New York Giants heading into the 2021 NFL season. Do I think that the Giants can win this division? Yes, I can. Am I sure that 9 and 10 wins will do so? I'm not sure. I'm ready for this Giants team to take a huge step next year under the leadership of Joe Judge and Daniel Jones. But for me, I'm going to go down and pencil it 9 or 10 wins for the New York Giants. For you guys, I want you to answer this question. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm being a homer saying 9 or 10 wins. Predict the Giants' record for the 2021 NFL season. Go down in the comments and let me know. I'll be down there answering your questions. Let's talk a little bit of ball, and let's find out what the Giants are going to do next season. If you want to talk more New York Giants football, make sure to follow me on Twitter, @MarshallGreen_. I want to talk Giants football 24 seconds. I bleed New York Giants blue, even though I'm wearing New York Giants red right here. I want to talk more ball, so make sure you can follow me on Twitter, @MarshallGreen_. Shoot me a DM, mention me. I'll make sure to respond, and let's just hope that the Giants can make the playoffs for the 2021 NFL season.